Welcome to the Web Hosting Cat Podcast, brought to you by webhostingcat.com. Here's your host, Michael James.
Thank you and welcome to the program. On this edition of the Web Hosting Cat Podcast, we're going to be discussing our web hosting recommendations for 2015. We'll also have a report on the top plugins for WordPress sites, and we'll hear from the co-founder and executive vice president of InMotion Hosting, Sunil Saxena, who'll be talking about the future of web hosting. So stay tuned, and we'll get started right after this.
Turning to technology now, if you're thinking about creating a new website, you might find out that getting hosting for your site is going to put more of a dent in your wallet. According to the hosting review site webhostingcat.com, prices for web hosting plans are now actually increasing throughout the industry. However, by doing some diligent research, you can still find quality web hosting that is affordable. With so many choices available to consumers, it's more important than ever to make sure the features included in a web hosting plan match your website's requirements. For more information, visit webhostingcat.com.
Okay, let's talk about some of our web hosting recommendations for 2015. We recently posted an updated video about this topic, but here we'll get to discuss our picks in a little more detail. One of the questions we get here the most is, what's the best web hosting company? What's your choice? What's the one to go with? And of course, the answer is going to depend on a lot of different things. Exactly what your website's going to require, your technical level of expertise. What we thought we'd do is break the list down into separate categories. But even then, within each category, there are a number of factors that could sway you one way or the other. So our list of web hosting recommendations for 2015 is broken down by category, and we tried to go with all things being equal, even though they're not. What's the best overall choice within that category? Let's start off with the best budget hosting. If you're on a tight budget, don't have a lot of money to spend, what's the best one to go with? There are plenty of startup hosting plans that are very cheap. You can get for just a few dollars a month. The trend we've noticed lately, though, is at one time most shared hosting plans would give you unlimited features like unlimited disk space, unlimited bandwidth, email, etc. And the trend lately is you could still get very cheap starter hosting plans, but you're limited in resources and the number of websites you can actually host with that plan. That being said, we really like iPage as giving you the best value and the best amount of unlimited features. With iPage, you still get unlimited bandwidth and disk storage. You can host as many websites as you like, and overall, I think it's a really good package. iPage has traditionally had one of the lowest cost plans available. They actually had raised it recently to about, I think, $225, which is still a great buy. The last time I checked, it's actually back down to, I think, $189 a month. So I think iPage is really good for beginners as well as seasoned webmasters. Like I say, you do get a ton of features with that, and a lot of free extras, like a toll-free number, a listing in yellowpages.com. So if you're looking for the best budget hosting, we recommend you check out iPage. Now, as I said, with iPage, you can host multiple websites. But if you're an entrepreneur or an internet marketer and you know you're going to need multiple sites, there actually may be better packages for you. The one thing about iPage you may not like, if you use a web stat package like Webalizer or AW Stats, for some reason they will combine all of your site's data into one report. So if you really want to separate it, obviously you can use Google Analytics. If you're going to create a ton of websites and you want the very best reporting mechanisms, still getting unlimited features and great support, great service, I would suggest you take a look at Web Hosting Hub. Web Hosting Hub is actually the sister company of InMotion Hosting, which we're going to talk about later. But they have 3 levels of shared plans. And if you go with the mid or upper level plan, you can host unlimited data, you can host unlimited websites, you get unlimited bandwidth and storage. Plus, you get great service, great support, great performance with your websites. I've used iPage. I've also used Web Hosting Hub, and I can tell you they're really great. If you really need a ton of websites and you're looking for a great shared hosting plan that's going to allow you to host multiple websites, we'd suggest you look at Web Hosting Hub. Okay, moving to managed web hosting. And in particular, managed WordPress hosting. If you're like me, you do a lot of work with WordPress, building websites. And there are an increasingly large number of managed WordPress hosting plans available. And the prices run the gamut. You can get one that's fairly inexpensive to some that are on the high-end side. You've got to be careful with managed hosting because all of the managed hosting plans, they promise you things like expert support and supercharged hardware and all these other features. But when you've actually had a chance, like I have, to try some out, you find out that they're certainly not all the same. And for the most part, you do get what you pay for. So you can opt for a cheaper one, but my experience has been, you're going to have problems. You could have problems down the road. I actually spent about a week trying to get a WordPress site transferred over to one of the cheaper managed WordPress plans, and ran into all sorts of problems, and actually gave up after about a week. So you got to be extra careful when you're shopping for managed WordPress hosting. SiteGround has a very good managed WordPress hosting plan, which I use. It has a ton of features, and it's given me a pretty good performance. However, if you're looking for the best overall managed WordPress hosting experience, we've got to go with WP Engine. Now, WP Engine is one of the more expensive options out there, but what's great about them is they have been totally, and still are, totally focused on WordPress. They don't do any other kind of web hosting. Overall, they just offer the best features that you can find if you're looking for managed WordPress hosting. If you listen to a lot of the WordPress gurus out there, WP Engine is really regarded as the standard for managed WordPress hosting. Like I said, it's not cheap. If you're looking for enterprise level WordPress hosting, WP Engine really is the way to go. They have several different levels of plans. You can get a personal plan. It costs about $29 a month, I believe, and all the way up to enterprise. WP Engine utilizes their EverCatch technology. You can get a separate staging area when you're developing your WordPress site, so you can test out all your changes and enhancements before you push it out into production. And that's really crucial especially for enterprise websites. So if you're looking for a personal managed web hosting plan, you can try SiteGround. But if you're looking for an enterprise solution, or if you're looking for the absolute standard in managed WordPress hosting, we recommend WP Engine. Okay, moving to business web hosting. If you're going to have a business website, there are some other features you really need to make sure you have. When I say business web hosting, I'm not necessarily talking about just an e-commerce site. You can have a business website for customer acquisition, for advertising, or just to get the word out. And of course, for business websites, you want to make sure you have the very best hardware. You need to be very careful about backup and restore policies. And of course, support is always vitally important. For business web hosting, there's really one choice that I've liked for many years and still is, I think, your best option, and that's InMotion Hosting. InMotion Hosting has 3 levels of business hosting plans, and they really are loaded with just the features you need for a business website. InMotion uses their max speed zone technology. If your customers are within the max speed zone area, they're actually going to get really great performance. With InMotion's business hosting, you get free backups, but not just that. Most hosting plans are going to boast about free backups. The issue is actually getting the data restored, which is where they usually zing you and charge you an extra fee. With InMotion, they'll actually restore your data free. I believe it's once every 4 months, and I've actually had to take advantage of that a while back. The backup and restore policy is great. As far as the hardware, I've actually had the pleasure of touring the InMotion data center, and this place really has top quality hardware. The support is just outstanding. The response time has always been great. In fact, whenever we've done our testing for live chat support response time, InMotion has always come in at number 1. But equally important, once you get in touch with the support tech, they're always very helpful, very courteous, and able to solve any issues that you've had. Performance-wise, I've never had any problems with downtime or page loading time or things like that. In fact, InMotion has even made their business hosting plans even better as of late. They now provide you free solid-state drives. You can actually get your software pre-installed. So if you want a WordPress site or a Joomla site, it can come pre-installed with that software, so you don't have to hassle with that. They're constantly upgrading their hardware to make sure that it's the best. InMotion does come with cPanel as your control panel interface, and they also have a great account management panel that is separate from your cPanel, which is great for handling all your account details. So overall, based on support, business class hardware, great features, great performance, for business web hosting, we recommend InMotion Hosting. Okay, let's move to a related area, and that is domain name management. Now, many web hosting plans do offer you a free domain name, but there may be reasons why it's better to keep your domain separate. If you are a marketer or an entrepreneur that's going to have a lot of websites, you're going to have to keep track of a lot of domain names. And it just makes things a lot easier. It gives you a lot more flexibility and control if you have all your domains in a separate location and use a separate domain name registrar. Now, of course, GoDaddy has been and still is the big dog when it comes to domain names. It is our choice for domain name management. GoDaddy sometimes has a bad reputation, but I've got to say I've used not only their domain name management services, but also their web hosting services. And I've got to say, we're pretty pleased here. As far as domain name management, we really like their domain name management interface. They've actually made great improvements to their website the last couple of years. At one time, it actually was kind of a pain going to their website because it was not very efficient, but they've really improved it lately. We like the domain name management interface. Obviously, you can get whatever type of domain name you need, whether it's a traditional .com, .net, .org, or one of the newer extensions that are more descriptive. Another advantage of using GoDaddy is they do have a lot of sales, particularly if you buy your domains in bulk. You can get a much better deal that way. There are other options for domain names. Namecheap is another good option, and another one that I do use. But overall, we really like GoDaddy. Another advantage with GoDaddy is because they are such a big player in the domain name area, it's much easier to transfer your domains to someone else if you want to. GoDaddy also has their domain auctions where you can buy and sell premium domain names. Overall, we're pretty pleased. As far as to support, the few times I've actually needed to contact support, they've been very responsive and very helpful and able to resolve any issues that I had. So domain name management, we like GoDaddy. So those are some of our web hosting recommendations for 2015. Switching gears now, WordPress has become the most popular content management system for building websites. At one time it was just a way to create a blog online, but these days you can build all kinds of websites through the use of plugins. Plugins are separate programs you can install in your WordPress dashboard to add all kinds of functionality. Now, there are literally thousands of plugins available, but to get started, here's Melissa with a report on 10 top plugins for your WordPress site.
WordPress has become one of the most popular website creation tools. Now, much more than just a blogging tool, you can add lots of functionality to your WordPress site with the use of plugins. Adding the right WordPress plugins can make your website run more efficiently and enhance its appearance and performance as well. Here are 10 awesome WordPress plugins that you should consider adding to your site. Akismet is the best option for handling comment spam. Once you install and activate this plugin, it does a great job of flagging those annoying junk comment submissions. An SEO plugin is extremely important to help your WordPress site rank higher in the search engines. The all-in-one SEO plugin is easy to configure and one of your best options. While WordPress is incredibly flexible, it isn't always the fastest website platform. Adding a caching plugin like W3 Total Cache can improve your site loading speed and make your website run more efficiently. Malicious programs can try to repeatedly log into your WordPress site and to obtain your password. By installing the Limit Login Attempts plugin, you can limit the number of times someone or some program can try to log in. The Floating Social Media Icon plugin adds an eye-catching group of icon links, including Twitter, Facebook, and Pinterest, to your website page. Creating a sitemap for your website is important to help search engines find your site's pages. The Google XML Sitemaps plugin handles this process for you. The Fast Secure Contact Form plugin gives your WordPress site a way for visitors to communicate their questions and other concerns to you. To easily place Google AdSense or other advertising on your WordPress site, try using the WP Simple AdSense Insertion plugin. With WP Easy Gallery, you can easily add photos to your WordPress posts and pages that your visitors can browse through. The WordPress Social Sharing Optimization plugin enhances your postings to social media sites such as Facebook, Twitter, and Google+, which can improve your click-through rates. With these 10 plugins, you'll be well on your way to a successful WordPress website.
Thanks, Melissa. Good stuff. Now, let's get to our special guest. Starting in 2001, InMotion Hosting has strived to provide the very best support and service for their customers. Their hosting lineup features award-winning business hosting, all the way up to VPS and dedicated server options. Recently, I had a chance to sit and chat with the co-founder and executive vice president of InMotion Hosting, Sunil Saxena. We talked about the present and future of web hosting in general, and also got some insight into what's coming next at InMotion. I began the interview by asking Sunil for his take on the web hosting industry and about InMotion Hosting's goals.
Some of the bigger challenges for the web hosting space in general are to make sure that from a technological standpoint, we're adapting to, I'd say, the newer needs of customers. So, for example, one thing we identified in 2013 and implemented in 2014 was to make sure that we had SSDs and some faster performing servers for our customers, because as most consumers know now, things have to run quick, things have to run efficiently, and they have to work all of the time. So we found that with technological changes like SSD, but also making some more changes to our features, it really helped our customers, who are all business owners, and for the most part business owners, really take their business to the next level.
I also asked if InMotion would be incorporating features such as managed WordPress hosting and a content delivery network.
Well, actually, we do managed WordPress hosting already through what's called our managed services team. So we don't bundle it like some of the other providers, but what we do is we actually have a dedicated team of people that will not only do managed WordPress hosting for you, but also managed hosting in general. So oftentimes what will happen is some larger organizations will come to us and say, okay, we need you to configure these 3 particular dedicated servers in a certain way so that we're ready for a news show or something like that. So our managed team can do that. And CDN providers, we will actually implement something this year that's a more close relationship with some of the vendors out there.
Sunil Saxena is our guest. If you visit our website at webhostingcat.com, you'll see that I've written a lot about why I like InMotion hosting. I asked Sunil to give us his top 3 reasons on how InMotion distinguishes itself from the other web hosting companies.
As always, since the day we started, our customer service and support is the most important thing to us. We have a very important set of core values that everyone in the organization, from myself all the way down to the newest hires, adheres and lives by. In addition to that, it's important that we continue to work on the customer experience, because although web hosting is still web hosting, it's very different now than it was 3 years ago, and it'll be very different now 3 years from now as well. So having a customer experience team help us understand what our customer needs are and what those changing needs are is very important to us. And then finally, it's about providing the proper products for our business customers and our customers to succeed. So again, working with WordPress, but also coming out with some new site building tools. And then also on the higher end side, making sure that our dedicated servers, our reseller platforms, and our VPS posting is servicing the customer's needs so they can be successful. Because our mantra basically is when our customers are successful, we're successful.
With data security being such a hot topic in the news lately, I asked how InMotion goes about protecting customers' websites.
We have a dedicated team of system admins looking and monitoring our networks at all times through Nagios, and actually are on site as well. So unlike maybe some other providers who either colo with another service provider or they actually just resell hosting service, we actually have our own dedicated system admins who are on site 24/7 to make sure that they are watching by monitoring and then proactively dealing with any hacks, issues, or something like that. Additionally, we've invested quite a bit of money in some of our hardware as of late. So, for example, we implemented 2 very sound and robust DDoS mitigation systems in both our East Coast and West Coast data centers, which has been great. So maybe a DOS attack that was crippling to our web servers a year and a half ago is nothing more than a blip on a graph at this point. So,
cloud hosting is another hot topic. What are your thoughts about the cloud, and will InMotion be providing any cloud services in the future?
Cloud hosting is very hot. I think everyone wants to have the cloud. So I think some people want the cloud or they're not sure what the cloud is. We will be coming out with our own bare metal cloud towards the end of 2015. A lot of our customers who are using our VPS technology, the virtualization technology behind our VPS is in some ways very much cloud-like, but we will have a dedicated cloud product towards the end of the year.
The co-founder of InMotion Hosting, Sunil Saxena, is my guest. Finally, I asked Sunil about the future of web hosting and how he sees things playing out, specifically regarding expansion or consolidation within the industry.
There's been quite a bit of consolidation amongst some of the larger companies out there. I believe that there will be more consolidation as well as we look at 2016, 2017 and whatnot. And those who are able to continually evolve and provide the very best possible service and experience for their customers will do well. And I think the other ones will have to see and kind of have a gut check and see what's important to them.
That's Sunil Saxena, co-founder and executive vice president of InMotion Hosting. And I'd like to thank him again for spending some time with us. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of the podcast. To get more information on all things web hosting, I invite you to browse our website at webhostingcat.com. And until next time, this is Michael James wishing you all the best with your website endeavors. Thanks for listening, and take care.
You've been listening to the Web Hosting Cat podcast, sponsored by webhostingcat.com. The preceding program is copyrighted 2015 by TuxCat Media.